Devi ki jai. Narayani Devi ki jai. So now, on this special holy day, I'm having a chance to return to Mayapur Dham. So I'll have to go to Śrīvāsa Thakur's. I was held up for 1 whole hour by visiting sannyasi before I came, so I didn't get a chance to go, but I will go after and pay my obeisances there at Śrīvāsa Thakur's transcendental abode. And I think this is the first gathering after all the Gaur Purnima festivities, the first program. Good. And then on Saturday, I hear, we're also having our remembrances here for our dear godbrother, an intimate friend and loyal servant of our Sampradaya, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Avadut Maharaj. Yes. And on Thursday, because I'm doing Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday like I did before, so probably come back here again. We'll see how it works, if it works out. But I can tell that probably at least 2/3, if not half, of the number of devotees that are here would not be venturing across the river to come for programs there, as the heat is now. And also Chandrasekhar Prabhu, you'll be going to Australia, right? When?
On Friday. I'll leave Mayapur on Thursday. And on Saturday, actually.
And I heard Shripad Sajjan Maharaj is going to be staying at your place during the time that you're gone, or that's not settled yet?
He'll have access.
He'll what?
He'll have access to my place.
Yes, okay. Okay.
You're also welcome to come rest easy if you wish.
Okay. All right, thank you. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhajanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaudatishe Nama Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Namaha. You can move that. No, this. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Shuruto Pangor Mama Manda Mater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagar Singhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshtalibhi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshivata Tatakstitaha Karshan Venusvanayar Gopir Gopinata Shriyestunaha Brindai Tulsi Dibbai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshay Kiptascha Kamadi Taranga Madhye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanarvindam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsa Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone loudly. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsa Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Guru Dev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Shri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Shri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Shri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranams to all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and especially on this sacred day of the appearance of the Narad Muni avatar in Gaur Leela, the most intimate associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a member of the Pancha Tattva, that is Srila Śrīvāsa Thakur. I offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranams at his divine lotus feet. Then I offer my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. So, Śrīvāsa Thakur is a very important personality. He's a very big VIP in Gaur Leela and in Krishna Leela as well. Yes. And the glories of Sri Narada Muni are unlimited throughout all the Shastras. And in Gaur Leela, he plays such a prominent role. We should try to intimately understand his identity today. I'm going to be reading a very nice short biographical sketch on his life, his personality, and all of his intimate exchanges with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I'm reading this from the wonderful book, The Associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is written by Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj. And we'll see how that goes, and we may also find a way to squeeze in. I wanted to squeeze in some of Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita 7th chapter. You know that 7th chapter? All the oldies will remember there was a separate book printed of the 7th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita. That was about 1974, something like that. And it was called what? Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Also in that very chapter is chapter 7 of Adi Leela. There's an incredible, wonderful purports that Prabhupada is writing there, and how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is unfolding the glories of the Panchatattva. Because the Panchatattva are the supreme gurus. They're the supreme gurus. That Panchatattva and all are underneath them. All of our Gaudiya Guru Varga and everyone. So we'll read that and we'll see. Now, at the beginning of each personalities, wait 1 second. At the beginning of the short biographical sketch of each personality, usually, if there is a quotation from the Gaur Ganodesha Deepika, that who is this person in Gaur Leela, who is that person in Krishna Leela? Śrīvāsa Paṇḍito Dhīman Yakpura Narado Muni Parvatakyo Muni Varo Ya Asin Narada Priya Shri Rama Paṇḍita Shriman Tat Kanishta Sahodara Nam Bika Vraje Datri Stanya Datri Stita Pura Saiveyam Malini Namni Śrīvāsa Grihini Mata. So, now here's the translation. Śrīvāsa is the same Narada who plays such an important part in Krishna Leela. Narada Muni's friend, Parvat Muni, he appeared as Śrīvāsa's younger brother, Ramai. And Śrīvāsa's wife, Malini Devi, was Krishna's wet nurse in Braja. Did you know that? Ambika, that's her name. Krishna's wet nurse in Braj. And then what did she do in Gaur Leela? She took Nityananda always as her son and fed her breast milk, even though she was much older. But she had that loving relationship with Nityananda Prabhu when he appeared in Navadvip for the first time, and then he began to live there at Śrīvāsa Thakur's abode, Śrīvāsangam. So, now the first thing he discusses is the Panchatattva. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. I pay obeisances to the Supreme Lord Krishna, Because it says Panchatattva Atmakam Krishnam. So I pay obeisances to the Supreme Lord Krishna, who has appeared in 5 aspects. First, as a devotee. Then the expansion of a devotee. As the incarnation of a devotee. As a pure devotee. And as the devotional energy. So let me repeat these, and you can guess who's who. Okay? This will be a good exercise for you, to know who's who in the Panchatattva. Now, first he says, Panchatattva Atmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa. So, what does Bhakta Rupa mean? He appears as a Bhakta. Who is that referring to? Huh? No. No. It's referring to Krishna. Yes. First of all, it's Krishna, because Panchatattva Atmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa. Krishna appears as a Bhakta in the form of Gauranga. In one sense, you're correct. But we should understand that connection. So, then, second, he appears as the expansion of a devotee. Who's that? Anyone else? Huh? Nityananda, who else? Come on. There's 5 in the Panchatattva. Nityananda. Huh? Yes. So first of all is the expansion. Swarup. Bhakta Swarup. So that's Nityananda. And then comes Bhakta Avatar. Who is that? The incarnation of a devotee. Avatar, incarnation of a devotee. And that is Advaita Acharya. Then he appears as a pure devotee. That's how it's mentioned in the verse in this order. There's 2 left. There's the pure devotee, means Bhaktakyam, and then Bhakta Shaktikam. So he appears as a pure devotee, Bhakta Akyam, and who's that? Śrīvāsa Thakur. And then finally, Bhakta Shaktikam. Who is that? The devotional energy, Bhakti Shakti. That is Gadadhar Pandit, who is the Purna Shakti. Right? Is Gadadhar Pandit the Purna Shakti? Because he's Radharani directly. So he's the complete Shakti. Okay. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments. And if you listen to this, he's going to say somewhat the same thing, but he's adding some more nuances. He comments on this verse. The supremely potent, who's that? Krishna. The supremely potent is revealed in 5 different manifestations according to his desire to experience 5 different pastimes. What is he coming for? For experiencing pastimes and tasting rasa. Now, ontologically, there is no difference between them. Who them? These 5. There's no difference between them. They are one truth expressed in 5 varieties. And remember what Prabhupada used to say in that 7th chapter, that book? This is a challenge to the impersonalists. Right? Lord Chaitanya and 5 features. The Supreme Absolute Truth coming in these 5 features, they're all identical. They're all the Supreme Absolute Truth. But the Supreme Absolute is tasting rasa through these 5 features. So therefore he's not impersonal. He has all qualities, all pastimes, everything. So thus, Sri Gauranga, Sri Nityananda, Sri Advaita, Sri Gadadhar, and Śrīvāsa, and the other devotees. Who's that? Śrīvāsādi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. They're also included, but not exactly in the Panchatattva, but they're Śrīvāsa Thakur is representing them. So, they're ontologically non-different from one another. All the Panchatattva and all the other devotees. But nevertheless, that one truth is manifest as a devotee, as Bhakta Rupa. Then the expansion of a devotee, then the incarnation of a devotee, the energy of a devotee, and the pure devotee, according to the desire to relish different tastes of divine relationship. Now, of these 5 truths, the Supreme Lord himself, the son of Nanda, he takes on the devotional mood to become Bhakta Rupa. His full expansion, Swayam Prakash, Balaram, he takes on the devotional mood and he appears as the Bhakta Swarup, Nityananda. The Purusha avatar, Mahavishnu, takes on the devotional mood and appears as the, takes on the devotional mood and appears as the Bhakta avatar, the incarnation of a devotee, Advaita Acharya. Bhakta avatar. These 3 are all Prabhus with a capital P. They're all Prabhus, that is, that they are Vishnu Tattva. They're Vishnu Tattva. Now the devotional energy, Bhakta Shakti, and the pure devotee, Shuddha Bhakta, they are classified as energies of Vishnu Tattva, which are considered non-different because of their dependent relationship to it. Now the devotional energies, who are they? All these devotional energies, Bhakta Shakti, they are Gadadhar, Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, etc. The pure devotee includes Śrīvāsa and others who are in the moods of friendship or servitude. Śrīvāsa is thus a member of the Panchatattva. Now, the first section is titled Śrīvāsa Pandit's Origins. Śrīvāsa Pandit hailed from Shilet. He later came to live in Navadvip, where he made an immense contribution to Gauranga Lila. From the Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita, we learn that Śrīvāsa had 3 brothers in Navadvip, Sri Ram Pandit, Sri Pati Pandit, and Sri Kanta or Sri Nidhi Pandit. All 4 were participants in Mahaprabhu's Leela. Now the Gaudiya Vaishnava Abhidan, that's like an encyclopedia of all the personalities in Gaur Leela. So that book, Gaudiya Vaishnava Abhidan, cites Prem Vilas, the book that you're reading currently, in saying that Śrīvāsa's father was a Vedic Brahmin of the name Sri Jaladhar Pandit. Śrīvāsa was the second of 5 sons. The eldest son was named Sri Nalina Pandit, who had a daughter named Narayani. Narayani's husband was named Vaikunta Das Vipra. And Narayani's husband died while she was pregnant with Vrindavan Das Thakur, who is the author of the Chaitanya Bhagavat. She left her husband's house in Kumarahatta Halisahara, and she came to live with Śrīvāsa in Navadvip. Now, the next section is Śrīvāsa and Nimai Pandit. Now, during his student life, Nimai would engage Gadadhar and Mukunda and other devotees in debate. First, he was defeated all their arguments, and then he would show how they could be proven. Now the devotees, they were astonished at his prowess, and they thought that his learning would bear fruit only if he became a devotee of Krishna. Nimai would pay obeisances to the devotees such as Śrīvāsa whenever he saw them. And then they in turn would bless him, saying, "May you have devotion to Krishna." Now one day, Śrīvāsa Pandit was out walking when he encountered Nimai on the street. Then he said to him, "People study in order to become devotees of Krishna. So what is the use of all their studies if they don't become devotees?" Śrīvāsa asked this to Nimai Pandit. He said, "Don't waste your time. Start worshipping Krishna as soon as possible." Now Mahaprabhu felt great joy upon hearing such words from the mouth of his own devotee, and he answered him, "You are a devotee. By your mercy, I will surely have devotion for Krishna someday." Even though they could not help but be attracted to Nimai, the devotees were unable to recognize him as their own worshipable Lord due to the force of his Yogamaya Lila Shakti. They couldn't recognize. This is a most astonishing and attractive pastime, that they couldn't recognize him. Next section, Nimai becomes a devotee. When Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, why did he go to Gaya? Yeah, Shraddh he wanted to do with his father's ashes. So, when he returned from Gaya, he began to display all the symptoms of one who is intoxicated with love of God. Why? Why did, upon returning from Gaya, did he start to show all those symptoms? He took initiation and took shelter of Ishwara Puri in Gaya. That's a very deep, wonderful chapter to read, all those sweet moods of exchange between Mahaprabhu and Ishwara Puri. So, when Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, he began to display all the symptoms of one who is intoxicated with love of God. But Sachimata became terrified, thinking that it was madness. So when Śrīvāsa came near him, Mahaprabhu said, "Everyone thinks that I have gone crazy. What do you think has happened to me, O Śrīvāsa?" Then Śrīvāsa laughed, and he answered, "It's good that you ask. If your humors have become disturbed, then I want the same for myself. I see that a great mood of devotion has invaded your body. Krishna has been merciful to you." Now a relieved Mahaprabhu, he embraced Śrīvāsa and he said, "If you too had said that I was going mad, I would have drowned myself in the Ganga." So, when Mahaprabhu instituted the loud chanting of the holy names in his own house and in that of Śrīvāsa, then all the atheistic neighbors began to complain that they were losing sleep because of the noise. And they looked for ways to counter the movement, and even they started false rumors that the king would come soon to punish the devotees. Now the impressionable Śrīvāsa Pandit, he believed these stories. and he was filled with anxiety and began to worship Nrsingadev for protection. So understanding that Śrīvāsa was afraid, the Lord, who takes away the distress of his devotees, he went to his house. And then what did he do, Mahaprabhu? He kicked open the door and he said, "Who are you worshiping? Who are you meditating on? He whom you are worshiping is standing before you. Look, I will save the righteous and I will destroy the wicked. You should worry no longer." So saying this, he sat down on the heroic posture called Virasana, and he revealed the divine form of Nrsinga, holding the conch, discus, club, and lotus. When Śrīvāsa saw this extraordinary manifestation of the Lord, he was overcome with feelings of love, and he began to recite hymns of praise. And Mahaprabhu was pleased with Śrīvāsa's recital, and he told him to call his wife and his family members to see his divine form. Then he gave his prasad to Narayani, and he showed his mercy to her by making her utter the holy name. And just as the devotee is dear to the Lord is also dear to his devotee. Now comes, chronologically, Nityananda Prabhu's appearance in Navadvip. And this is the section describing Nityananda's Vyas Puja. So when Nityananda and Mahaprabhu met for the first time, then Mahaprabhu knew that Nitai had arrived at Nandan Acharya's house. And so he went there in the company of the devotees. In order to reveal Nityananda's glories, he had Śrīvāsa recite a verse from the Bhagavatam. What is that verse? Varhapidam natavaravapu karnayo karnikaram vibradvasa kanaka kapisham vaijayantim chamalam randran venor adara sudaya purayan gopa vrindair vrindaranyam swapada ramanam pravishad gita kirti. So they've made a poetic English translation of this in prose poetry. Krishna, whose glories are sung to the world by the cowherd boys, dressed as a dancing performer, a peacock feather decorating his top knot, karnikara flowers behind his ears, a golden cloth covering his body, and a victory garland around his neck, entered Vrinda's forest, the pleasure garden of his auspiciously marked feet, while filling the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips.
Does the cowherd boy sing that song?
Does cowherd boys sang the song? No?
I didn't hear your translation.
Oh. Whose glories are, Krishna, whose glories are sung to the world by the cowherd boys in the beginning. But it's more than that, because this is a verse from the Venu Gita. So, yeah. But the gopis are saying that the cowherd boys were singing his glories as they entered the forest. Yeah. This is considered to be the best shloka describing Krishna's beauty in the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. Did you know that? Gurudev has told us many times. This is the best shloka. Then he tells about two other shlokas, one by Brahma and one by, Yudhishthira Maharaj? Like that. Now, this was recited when they first saw Nityananda Prabhu. So as soon as Nityananda Prabhu heard the verse, he fainted. And the 8 ecstatic symptoms appeared on his body. Then Vishwambar clasped Nityananda to his bosom. So that's all it says on that. But that's a very extensive description of Nityananda dancing in ecstasy, jumping in the air, crashing to the ground. It goes on and on and on. But finally Mahaprabhu took him in his arms, and then he calmed down. So just after Nityananda Prabhu arrived, it was time to celebrate the Guru Puja, Vyas Puja. So one day, Mahaprabhu indicated that he wished to perform the Vyas Puja ceremony for Nityananda, and the preparations for it were made at Śrīvāsa's house. Now, why would he want to perform it for Nityananda Prabhu? Huh? Can't hear. Yes, but in the Gaur Leela, he's in a senior position to Mahaprabhu. So, and he was a renunciate. So therefore, the Vyas Puja ceremony for Nityananda and the preparations for it were made at Śrīvāsa's house. On the eve of the ceremony, when the Adivas Kirtan was being sung, then Mahaprabhu himself became absorbed by the spirit of Baladev, thus revealing that Nityananda was Balaram. Then he called out Advaita's name, Nara, Nara. Do you know what the meaning of that word, Nara, is? Nara, Nara. I never knew until I read this. It means one who makes something move. And so Mahaprabhu is calling out Nara, Nara to who? Advaita Acharya. Because revealing how Advaita Acharya had made him descend by his prayers. Yes. There's even a description in Chaitanya Bhagavat of how, as Advaita Acharya was calling out with loud, loud calls, Krishna, you must descend. What happened in Goloka Vrindavan? The throne Krishna was sitting on began rumbling and shaking. Now on the following day, as Nityananda started to perform the Vyas Puja, he placed a garland offering on Mahaprabhu's head. Now, what led up to that? Gurudev always describes this, that Nityananda was given the garland, and Mahaprabhu hadn't yet arrived. So they were all, because, for Vyas Puja, they have like a pot which represents Vyasadeva, and so he was supposed to garland that. But what was Nityananda Prabhu doing? He was holding the garland, and he was going, But, what did they call him? Not Mahashai, they had another name for Nityananda. So they said to him, Prabhu, please place the garland there. He would answer. But finally, just around that time, then Mahaprabhu entered the assembly. Then Nityananda made it straight toward Mahaprabhu and garlanded him. And then what happened? He placed the garland on Mahaprabhu's head. Then Mahaprabhu immediately gave Nityananda a vision of a six-armed form. What's that form called? Sadbhuj. And which six arms are they? 2, 2, and 2. Yes. Which one is at the top? Ramachandra holding what? Yes. Second, Krishna in the middle holding what? Flute. And the bottom one, Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi holding danda and water pot. So this Sadbhuj form was shown immediately to Lord Nityananda by Mahaprabhu. So now, Śrīvāsa Pandit, in the role of the ceremonies Acharya, he had placed the garland in Nityananda's hand, and he told him to offer it to Vyasadeva while chanting the appropriate mantras. But Nityananda put it on Mahaprabhu's head instead. So at the end of the Vyas Puja, then Mahaprabhu ordered the devotees to engage in kirtan. And as the holy names were being sung, he himself asked Śrīvāsa for the prasad, which he then personally distributed to all the devotees as well as to Śrīvāsa's servants. Everyone ate the offerings with great pleasure. Now when Mahaprabhu saw Śrīvāsa's devotion to Nityananda, he blessed him that the goddess of fortune would remain forever kind to his household, and that even the dogs and the cats of his home, get this one, even the dogs and the cats of Śrīvāsa Thakur's home would have enduring devotion for the Lord. Now comes the next section, Kirtan at Śrīvāsa Angan. At Mahaprabhu's desire, his Sankirtan pastimes began in the house of Śrīvāsa, with only his intimate associates being present. This began on which day? Do you know which day this began? The first Kirtan in the house of Śrīvāsa Thakur. Which day? It's in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Kanda, chapter 8. Shri Hari Vasare Hari Kirtan Vidan Nritya Arambila Prabhu Jagatera Pran Punyavanta Śrīvāsa Angane Subharamba Uttila Kirtan Dvani Gopala Govinda. So, at Mahaprabhu's desire, his Sankirtan pastimes began in the house of Śrīvāsa, with only his intimate associates being present. This began on an Ekadasi, with Mahaprabhu revealing many transformations of love as soon as the chanting began. So that verse that's being quoted from Chaitanya Bhagavat, translation reads as follows. The scriptural injunction is that one should engage in Hari Kirtan on Ekadasi evening, also known as Hari Vasara. On this night, Mahaprabhu, the life of the world, began to dance. This auspicious beginning for the Sankirtan movement took place in the pious Śrīvāsa's courtyard, where the singing of Krishna's names Gopal and Govinda rose to the sky. Mahaprabhu ordered that the doors should remain closed, and those wicked and hard-hearted persons who refused entry, now they began to criticize Mahaprabhu and his devotees. So Mahaprabhu's followers ignored their insults and they continued to ecstatically sing the holy names. And just as the long night of the Ras Leela seemed to the gopis to last only a few moments, the nights of Kirtan at Śrīvāsa's house seemed brief to Mahaprabhu and his followers. At the end of one such night, Mahaprabhu placed all the Shalagram Shilas on his lap, and he sat down on the altar where he revealed a wonderful form showing his divine nature and accepted all the food offerings given him by the devotees. On another occasion, Mahaprabhu engaged in his Maha what Leela? Maha Prakash Leela. Which means, here they translate it as the pastime of the great epiphany. What is the technical meaning or literal meaning of the word epiphany? Because that's usually refers to like Christian revelation, epiphany. Okay, yes. So, yes, the pastime of the great epiphany. Now, on that occasion, he withdrew his devotional mood as well as his divine trances, and he openly revealed his divine glories, sitting on Vishnu's throne for how many hours? 21 hours. At his signal, the devotees performed the Abhishek ceremony reserved for the King of Kings according to the scriptural regulations. Then the devotees made their offerings of flowers and gifts. And Mahaprabhu then stretched out his feet, and he accepted them without artifice. He then gave each person present a blessing fulfilling their personal desires. And in the course of this 21-hour Sat Praharya pastime of the Great Epiphany, the Mahaprakash Leela, Mahaprabhu appeared in the forms of all the previous avatars. And this is recounted in chapter 9 of Chaitanya Bhagavat's Madhya Kanda. Now, one evening, Śrīvāsa's mother-in-law, let's get that straight, not his mother-in-law, hid in a corner of the courtyard from where she hoped to be able to see the Lord's Samkirtan pastimes. Now, being the indweller of all beings, the Lord was aware of her presence and kept repeating to his companions that on that day he felt no joy in the singing of the holy names. So this was very disquieting to the devotees, who began to suspect that some outsider might be hiding in Śrīvāsa Angan, and they made a search. And when he found his mother-in-law, Śrīvāsa was mortified, and taking her by the hair, he led her out of the courtyard. And only those who have received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have the right to witness his pastimes. And then there's another occasion where another person tried to incognito enter the assembly of the kirtan. Who was that? A certain brahmachari who subsisted on milk alone. He asked Śrīvāsa for permission to see Mahaprabhu's kirtan. Now Śrīvāsa knew that he was a sattvic. He was very sattvic in his habits, and so he invited him. He invited him in. And Śrīvāsa had the brahmachari hide inside the house. But then Mahaprabhu, the indweller of all beings, was well aware of what was taking place. And he said, "I don't know what is wrong with the kirtan today. I am feeling no pleasure. I think that there must be an outsider here somewhere." Then Śrīvāsa became afraid. And he said, "A brahmachari who takes only milk asked if he could watch you dance. He was so eager, and I knew him to be austere, so I let him in." And then Mahaprabhu became angry, and he answered, "If one doesn't surrender to Krishna simply by eating a milk diet and doing other superficial austerities, one cannot attain devotion to Krishna. Make him leave." Now the Brahmin fearfully left the house. But still he asked if he could have a partial look at the Lord. Then the most merciful Lord called him to his side. He placed his lotus feet on his head, telling him not to be proud and to make a show of his austere practices. Mahaprabhu taught him. So when Mahaprabhu put on a play about his Vrindavan pastimes at whose house? Whose house? Very prominent devotee of Mahaprabhu in Navadvip Leela. Chandrasekhar Acharya, at his house in Mayapur. Where is that currently? That very place. Do you know where that exact place is? Chaitanya Mat. That property of Chaitanya Mat is Chandrasekhar Acharya's house there. And that's where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also stayed on that land and fulfilled his vow of chanting 1 billion names of Krishna. So when Mahaprabhu put on a play about his Vrindavan pastimes at Chandrasekhar's house in Mayapur, now here you're going to hear the list of who played who in the drama. Śrīvāsa played the part of Narada Muni. Advaita took on the role of a clown, or it's called a vidushak. A clown is called a vidushak. Now you can learn that word and start calling each, hey, you vidushak. Haridas Thakur was the police officer. Then Mahaprabhu himself, he played the role of Rukmini, and then he played the role of the Adya Shakti, while Nityananda played the part of an old woman, Nityananda. Then later, of course, the Lord again sat on the altar in the mood of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. And later, as the mother of the universe, in which mood he gave his devotees his breast to drink from, in a spirit of affection for them. Now you know how Mahaprabhu breastfed his devotees in a female form that he showed of Lakshmi Devi herself. Now, the next section is titled Offenses to Śrīvāsa. Did various persons offend Śrīvāsa Thakur? Let's see if we can think of the various individuals that offended Śrīvāsa Thakur. Huh? I can't hear. Still can't hear. Chand Kazi. Yep, correct. Who else? Gopal Chapal. Who else? Gaudiya Math named after it in Navadvip, after this person. The Gaudiya Math is not named Jagai Madhai Gaudiya Math, okay? Devananda Gaudiya Math. Yes. So, Mahaprabhu's kirtans at Śrīvāsa's house, they went on every night for a full year. Did they go on after that? No. Only this 1 year, all night long, all through the night until the daybreak. They went on every single night for 1 year. And the doors were locked. So during this time, many non-devotee Brahmins, they tried to make fun of Mahaprabhu and of his associates. And there were several of these pashandis. What does pashandi mean? Atheistic nonsense. There were several of these pashandis, non-believers, who, because they were unable to see what was going on, they were envious and they insulted the devotees. And one of them was a Bhattacharya Brahmin named Gopal Chapal, who decided to destroy Śrīvāsa's reputation by placing a plate of offerings intended for Kali on his doorstep. These plate of offerings included what? Liquor, red flowers. It's called red hibiscus. What else? Meat. What else? Red sandalwood, etc. So, in the morning, when Śrīvāsa opened the door, he saw these items and he started to laugh. Then he loudly proclaimed, "Look everyone, I am a Shakta. I have been worshipping the goddess all night long." Now his better behaved neighbors, they were pained to see what had taken place, and they removed the offending items and they threw them away, and then they purified the doorstep with cow dung. As a result of this offense to the Vaishnavas, guess what happened to Gopal Chapal? Leprosy. He became afflicted with leprosy. And one day when Mahaprabhu came to the banks of the Ganga to take a bath, then Gopal Chapal approached him and he prayed to be free from his disease. But Mahaprabhu angrily answered him, "O sinner, O enemy of the devotees, I will not save you. I will have you eaten by worms like this for 1,000,000 births. You made it seem as though Śrīvāsa had worshipped Bhavani. So you will dwell in the hell known as Raurava for 1,000,000 lifetimes." That's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he came to Kulia, the site where offenses are forgiven. Do you know that place? Our mud is there. Srila Sridhar's mud, Maharaj's mud, and the Devananda, they're all in that place, called what? Aparad Byanjan Pat. The place where offenses are forgiven, so that was known as Kulia at that time, and also Koladvip. This time, when Gopal Chappal begged him again to be forgiven, then Mahaprabhu was compassionate and told him to ask forgiveness of Śrīvāsa Pandit. One has to ask forgiveness of the very devotee that one has offended if one wishes to be freed of the offense. Can you ask another devotee to forgive you for offending that devotee? No! It must be that person. So when Śrīvāsa had forgiven Gopal Chappal, he was liberated from the effects of his offense. Now the unfortunate Devananda Pandit, although he was a great instructor in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but he was devoid of devotion. So one day Śrīvāsa Pandit went to listen to him lecture, and then being a great devotee, he was deeply affected by the Bhagavat's verses. He started to cry in midst of the assembly. Then Devananda's students, all of whom were Pashandis, they forcibly dragged Śrīvāsa outside for disturbing the audience. Even though he saw his students acting in this way, Devananda did nothing to stop them. Thus, he too became an offender to the Vaishnava. So Mahaprabhu later roundly rebuked Devananda for his inaction on this occasion. And later on, Devananda had the good fortune to come into the association of which great devotee of Mahaprabhu? Who did he come into the association? Vakreshvara Pandit. And Vakreshvara Pandit, he taught him Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's true identity. And he thus became sorry for the offense that he had committed. And he received Mahaprabhu's mercy. Now in Braj Leela, guess who Devananda Pandit is in Braj Leela? You never heard before, probably, because I didn't hear before. But in here, he told his identity in Braj Leela. Yes. In Braj Leela, Devananda is Nanda Maharaja's court Pandit, who is named Bandari Muni. So now we know. So therefore, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj honored Devananda Pandit and named his mutt Devananda Gaudiya Mutt, the very place where Devananda Pandit was rescued and saved by Vakeshwara Pandit and then forgiven by Mahaprabhu. Now comes the Qazi. The Qazi. What did the Qazi try to do? Huh? Yes. The Qazi tries to break up the kirtan. So Mahaprabhu, he was always Amani Manada. What does that mean? Amani Manada. What's the verse from Sikshastakam? Everyone say it. Trinadapi. So what's the third line? Amani na manadena. What does that mean? Huh? Yes, always giving and never expecting for oneself. So Mahaprabhu's behavior was always like this. Amani manada. He asked for no honors for himself, but he always showed respect to others. He would embrace everyone, and with great feeling he would ask them to chant the names of the Lord. Then everyone would engage in the loud chanting of the holy names with mridanga and conch shells. Materialistic persons considered them to be nothing other than musicians who were worshipping Mahama, that means Durga, on the wrong day. And they would insult them with various blasphemous statements. So as they were so doing, then one day, the local magistrate, the Qazi, was walking by and saw the scene. Then hearing the loud noise of the kirtan, he became irritated and angry. He went to Śrīvāsa's house and he broke the mridanga, and he had some of the devotees beaten as a warning. And then he said, if anyone does this Sankirtan again, he will be punished even more severely. Now the Qazi then went with some of these malicious townspeople, forbidding the performance of Sankirtan. This brought great satisfaction to all the what? Pashandis. Who? Who? Everyone say Pashandi. Yes, we don't like them. So this brought great satisfaction to all the Pashandis of the town. Why? Because they didn't want the kirtan to continue. Now they're very happy. So they joyfully continued to mock the devotees. Yes. Now when Mahaprabhu heard of the incident, he became very angry. He ordered the devotees to take torches and musical instruments and to join him without fear. He separated the devotees into several groups, and then he led the procession along the banks of the Ganga, himself dancing at its head. Thousands of men, women, and children put aside their housework to join him and to follow the Sankirtan procession. And when the miscreants heard the sound of the kirtan, their hearts began to tremble. Meanwhile, when Sirajadan Chand Qazi heard that thousands of Hindus were coming towards his house, he was frightened and he ran to hide inside. Upon his arrival, Mahaprabhu asked some genteel persons to affectionately inform the Qazi that he was there. And when the Qazi heard the polite way in which Mahaprabhu called to him, he was attracted and he came outside. And then he addressed Mahaprabhu as nephew. Since, by village relationship, he was Nilambar Chakravarti's brother. Because in villages, they have a relationship of brother. Although they're not blood related, but they're brothers. That's village relationship. So in this way, Mahaprabhu is a nephew. How is that? Nilambar Chakravarti's brother was in that same village. Who is Nilambar Chakravarti? Yes, Sachi Mata's father. Very good. Okay. So, now after a few moments of cordial conversation, then the Qazi recounted the following story to Mahaprabhu. On the night after I broke the mridanga, I had a dream in which I saw a most frightening figure, half man, half lion, sitting on my chest and threatening to rent it asunder in the way that I had broken the drum. And when he saw that I was afraid, he calmed me down and he told me that he would forgive me if I promised never to interfere with kirtan again. Then the Qazi showed the scratch marks which had been imprinted on his chest by Nrsingadev's claws. And then Chand Qazi promised that neither he nor anyone from his family would ever stop Sankirtan again. And he became Mahaprabhu's devotee. So the tomb of the Chand Qazi is in Bamanpukur, by which there stands a very old Goloka Champa tree. Some persons say that tree is like 500 years old. And both Hindus and the Muslims, they offer their respects to the tomb of the Chand Qazi. So, did that take place, what he promised? Is it still taking place now? None of the descendants of Chand Qazi would ever interfere again in the future. Has that happened up till now? Yes. And not only that, but in the Jaiva Dharma, in one of those first chapters, amongst like the first 13 chapters, forget which number, but each chapter has different personalities that make their appearance. So in one of the chapters, suddenly in the grove of the Paramahansa Vaishnavas and all of that, suddenly a group of persons dressed as Muslims entered into the assembly. And then the leader of the assembly addressed them, how can we serve you? And then they said, we are devotees of Gauranga. We are the descendants of Chand Qazi. Yes. So then they began to have a very nice conversation with them. And they knew Siddhanta also. Okay. Now, another further description of kirtan pastimes at Śrīvāsa. Can you guess which one hasn't been mentioned yet? Śrīvāsa Thakur's son. And also Dukhi, one of the servants who was named Dukhi. Now, after a night of kirtan at Śrīvāsa's home, then when Mahaprabhu returned to external awareness, he would go with all the devotees to bathe in the Ganga. Sometimes the devotees would bathe the Lord at Śrīvāsa. One of Śrīvāsa's servant girls named Dukhi would watch Mahaprabhu's ecstatic dancing with tears in her eyes. She also performed the service of filling jugs of water from the Ganga for Mahaprabhu's morning bath. And when he saw her devotion, Mahaprabhu was pleased, and he changed her name from Dukhi, which means what? Unhappy, to Sukhi, happy. So one day, Śrīvāsa's only son, he died as kirtan was going on in his house. And Śrīvāsa was afraid that the sounds of the mourning from the women's quarters would disturb Mahaprabhu while he was engaged in singing the holy names. So he went directly into the house, and he tried to quiet the women by explaining spiritual truths to them. When they still didn't stop their loud lamentations, Śrīvāsa threatened to throw himself in the river and drown. This had the desired result. So later on that night, after the kirtan came to a stop, then Mahaprabhu said, something doesn't seem right. Has a tragic event taken place in the Pandit's house? Then Śrīvāsa answered, how can anything be wrong when I have your smiling face in my house? But then some of the other devotees said, Prabhu, Śrīvāsa's only son died in the evening, about an hour after sunset. Then Mahaprabhu asked, why did no one say anything before now? Then the devotees answered, Lord, O Lord, Śrīvāsa told us not to, because he was afraid that it would interfere with your pleasure from kirtan. Then Mahaprabhu said, how could I ever abandon devotees who love me to this extent? And Mahaprabhu himself started to cry. Yes. Now after this, then Mahaprabhu went inside and he sat beside the child's dead body and he brought him back to life. Then he asked him, "Child, why do you want to leave the house of such a devotee as Śrīvāsa?" Then the dead child answered, "The few days that I was to spend in Śrīvāsa's house are over, and now I am following your wish in going elsewhere. I am a living being who has no independence. I cannot go against your wishes. Please be merciful to me, that I never forget your lotus feet, no matter where I go." So when Śrīvāsa's family members heard the child speak such wisdom, they immediately forgot their distress and they stopped their mourning. Then Mahaprabhu said to Śrīvāsa, "From this day on, Nityananda and I are your two sons. We will never leave you." Now, this is getting right near the end here. Now comes Śrīvāsa's visits to Jagannath Puri. After Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas and he was living in Puri, then Śrīvāsa would come with the other devotees each year to stay with him for the 4 months of the rainy season. Now here's a verse that tells the names of the devotees who would go in procession there, walking all the way to Puri. This is from Madhya Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 9. Advaita, Nityananda, Mukunda Datta, Śrīvāsa, Vidyanidhi, Vasudev Datta, Murari Gupta, and all of Mahaprabhu's other devoted servants, they met with him in Puri every year, and they stayed 4 months. Mahaprabhu engaged in various pastimes in their company. Śrīvāsa was a participant with Mahaprabhu in his leelas of cleaning the Gundicha temple and Rath Yatra. He was the principal singer in the second kirtan group, or they're also called sampradayas, the kirtan groups. So, and the chief dancer in that second kirtan group, because Śrīvāsa was the chief singer, and who was the chief dancer? Nityananda Prabhu himself. In the first kirtan group, now he's naming the 7 groups. In the first kirtan group, Sarup Damodar was the lead singer. And who was the dancer? Advaita Acharya. Then in the third group, Mukunda Dutt, he sang, while who danced? Haridas Thakur. Then Govinda Ghosh sang in the fourth group with who dancing? Vakeshwara Pandit. Do you know that Vakeshwara Pandit could dance for 72 hours without stopping? Had you ever heard that? That's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. 72 hours without stopping. Then the fifth sampradaya came from the village of Kulinagram, and Ramananda and Satyaraj were its principal dancers. Sixth group was from Shantipur, in which Achyutananda danced. Who's that? The son of Advaita Acharya. Now the seventh group was composed of the residents of Sri Khanda, of whom Narahari and Raghunandan took the lead roles. Now, when Mahaprabhu wished to dance at the Rath Yatra festival, then the 7 groups all came together. Now, on one such an occasion, the king Prataparuja was watching Mahaprabhu's wild dancing while leaning on his servant Harichandan's shoulder. Do you know that the king was one of the blessed persons who could witness Mahaprabhu simultaneously dancing in all seven groups? Mahaprabhu gave him that special mercy and vision. So, while the king was leaning on his servant Harichandan's shoulder and watching Mahaprabhu's wild dancing, then in the meantime, Śrīvāsa came and he stood in front of Harichandan to watch Mahaprabhu himself. So then, the king's servant kept pushing that Harichandan. You know what his position was? He was almost like a general in the king's army. And he did not like that Śrīvāsa he didn't know who Śrīvāsa Thakur was at that point. And he didn't like that Śrīvāsa Thakur had blocked the vision of the king from seeing Mahaprabhu's dancing. So, now the king's servant, Harichandan, he kept pushing the deeply absorbed Śrīvāsa, telling him to move so that the king could see. Finally, Śrīvāsa became irritated at the repeated disturbance, finally turned around and slapped Harichandan. Then Harichandan became angry and he was about to respond when the king stopped him, telling him how fortunate he was to have been touched by the hand of a devotee such as Śrīvāsa. Then one day, Śrīvāsa and the other devotees, they were glorifying Mahaprabhu's name, his form, qualities, and activities with the leadership of Advaita Prabhu. Then Mahaprabhu became angry and he left the scene. Do you know why he became angry? Because they're glorifying Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahaprabhu didn't like that. But the devotees didn't stop. He became angry, Mahaprabhu, he left the scene. But later, he accepted defeat. And he acquiesced to their desire to worship him. Now the next section is that Śrīvāsa Thakur, he moves to Kumarahata. After Mahaprabhu took sannyas in Katva, then Śrīvāsa and his brothers, they found it impossible to remain in Navadvip, where everything was full of painful reminders of the Lord. So they moved to Kumarahata, Halisahara, near the birthplace of Sri Ishwara Puri. Mahaprabhu himself came there on one occasion and he took some dust from his guru's birthplace and he wrapped it in his cloth. Now since that time, devotees have followed his example, Mahaprabhu's example. And they have taken handfuls of dust from that place, with the result that a small pond has formed. It's a lot of dust. It is given the name of Chaitanya's pond or Chaitanya Doba. So when Mahaprabhu went there, when Mahaprabhu went from there to Śrīvāsa's house, then all the members of the household joyfully received him and his companions, and they became absorbed in their service. Then Mahaprabhu noticed this, and he said to Śrīvāsa, "You are a householder. You have to earn money in order to maintain your family. Otherwise, how will you be able to do so?" So then Śrīvāsa first replied that he had no wish to make money. And after he said that, what did he do? Okay, you heard this one before. He clapped his hands how many times? 3 times. Then Mahaprabhu asked him what he meant by that. And then Śrīvāsa answered, I will fast. Once, twice, 3 times, and then I will tie a jug to my neck and jump in the Ganga. Then Mahaprabhu responded to Śrīvāsa's statement by giving a roar and saying, even if the goddess of fortune has to go begging, you will never know want in your home. Lord Krishna himself provides everything that his exclusive devotee needs. So even after Mahaprabhu remained permanently in Puri, it is said that his divine apparitions took place in 4 places. Did you know that? Visions of Mahaprabhu, apparitions of Mahaprabhu, after he had already left and stayed permanently in Puri, there were 4 places in which these divine apparitions took place. What's the first one? Sachi Devi's house. Second one, wherever Nityananda was dancing. Third, in Śrīvāsa's kirtan. And fourth, at the home of Raghava Pandit. So, these apparitions took place because the Lord is naturally attracted by the love of his devotees. So, that's a quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now, every year, Śrīvāsa and his brothers would go from Kumarahata. They would go both to Nilachala every year, and they would also go to Mayapur every year to visit Sachi Mata. Śrīvāsa Pandit's appearance day is the 8th day of the waning moon in the month of Chaitra. And his disappearance day is celebrated on the 10th day of the waning moon in Ashar. So today is that day, and we complete our reading of Srila Bhakti Balabhatirtha Goswami Maharaj's short biographical sketch of Srila Śrīvāsa Thakur, the Narada Muni avatar in Gaur Leela. Gaur Prem Anande, Gaur Premanande, Gaur Premanande. So now it's 1 o'clock, a little after. What should we do? Do you want to continue a little more, or what should we do at this point? Because I said I was going to read a little bit from Srila Prabhupada's, not very long though, but if you want. Otherwise we'll have a short kirtan, and then we can read after the kirtan, or we can have a short kirtan and complete our Harikatha for today. What do the devotees want to do?
The only concern might be prasada, because some devotees might be prasada were closest by closed. Yeah.
What's that?
How would you want to take the prasada?
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. So I suppose we should go because those places will close.
yeah.
Right.
But in those places, you could have them there. At Śrīvāsa.
We'll see. You're starting to get really overly greedy now. That's very intelligent proposition. Let's see. I'll figure it out once we've gone there and completed our program there. You don't even want me to stop to speak about these things and reading about these things even while I'm eating. So, okay. So let's just do short kirtan then. Madhukarji. You want to bring him the microphone.
Because you sent it to me in June. And I also...
If anybody needs the words, I have it here on WhatsApp, the words. Here, I'll just forward it to a bunch of you. Okay. Here, Dad, it's in... Okay. I'll forward it to you also. 1 second. Okay. I just sent it to you. Actually, should I'll put it in the unofficial group. There, okay. It's in the unofficial group. Okay. We can sing together. Ashrayami Śrīvāsa Tamadhyam Paṇḍitam Muda Shuklam Varadharam Goram Gorabhakti Pradayakam Shri Gorasya Navadvipa Lila Kirtana Sampadi Ya Pradanantaya Khyata Sa Śrīvāsa Gatir Mama Shri Gora Kirtana Nande Putra Shokapina Sprishat Yam Śrīvāsam Bhakta Rajam Tam Namami Puna Puna Adovasastu Shri Hate Bhagiratyastate Tata Kumara Hate Yasyasit Same Gauragatir Gati Shri Rama Shripatishyaiva Shri Nidishcheti Satama Śrīvāsa Pratarorgeya Śrīvāsam Nomi Sarvaram Puranaradarupena Harinama Sudhajaray Yo Jagat Lavayamasa Sa Śrīvāsa Dunagati Yat Patni Malini Devi Shri Gauranga Mato Samastapaparanadyay Sa Śrīvāsa gatirmama Pativargoranga gatir Malini Goda Vishrutam Tatpada Parmasavide Pranatir me sahasrasha Shri Chaitanya Priyatamam Vande Śrīvāsa Paṇḍitam Yat Karunyakatakshena Shri Gaurange Rati Bhave Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Śrīvāsa Thakur Jaya Śrīvāsa Thakur Jaya Śrīvāsa Thakur Jaya Śrīvāsa Thakur Jaya Śrīvāsa Jaya Gaura Śrīvāsa Jaya Gaura Śrīvāsa Gaura Śrīvāsa Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Guru Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol
Jai Shri Śrīvāsa Thakur Avatar
Shri Śrīvāsa Śrīvāsa Thakur ki jai. Pancha Tattva, member of the Pancha Tattva, Shri Śrīvāsa Thakur ki jai. Kirtan Ranga, Shri Śrīvāsa Thakur ki jai. Śrīvāsa Angan ki jai. Anantakoti Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsidebai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satchavachai Namo Namaha Pancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Tanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Vaishnavas Ki Jai. Mm.